Hello everybody and welcome back for round 3 of the Gran Turismo 7 Manufacturers Cup. For this championship I signed with Ferrari, and in last episode I was able to finish an impressive P2 around the Tokyo Expressway. And in this round I'm looking to do one better, as this race is around the Autopolis International Racing Course, a track that I'm quite familiar with. Jumping straight into the first qualifying session down the long back straight, this race required you to start on either the hards or the mediums and switch throughout the race, so for the qualifying session we're going to be using the medium tires as it's the faster of the two compounds. Heading out of the first corner, getting a good entry and exit as we enter the second sector, actually going purple through the first sector, downshifting 2 times for this fast right hand corner, coming up into this double apex here, downshifting into second and back up into third on the exit, as we prepare to stick to the inside on the first apex of this track. Getting a good exit off the apex, shifting up into third, and getting prepared for the fast left-hand corner, which is quite difficult to get right, as the Ferrari understeers quite a bit through this part of the track. Managing to get a decent exit out of the long left-hander, as we head up into the second hairpin of the track, downshifting at the second arrow on the right-hand side, as we're about 4/10ths up going into the third sector. Coming out of this hairpin, we do get a little bit of oversteer, but the Ferrari carries quite a bit of speed through there as we head up into the fast right-hander, downshifting twice, and getting prepared for the final sector, which is Ferrari's weakest sector, as I lose quite a bit of time through here. Following the Porsche through the entirety of these corners, as we're going to be in the dirty air for the whole sector, you can see just how much more speed he's going to carry through these last final corners, as the Ferrari tends to understeer quite a bit through the low-speed corners. Coming up into the final corner now, not taking the best of lines through the final corner, as you see the Porsche just gains a lot of time through the exit and onto the straight, just losing more time to the Porsche as we lag a little bit, but coming across the line, it's going to be a 147.1, which is enough to put us on pole position for the first race. Heading into the first race, I knew it was going to be quite a competitive one, as the Porsche behind sets a lap time that was less than a tenth away from mine. The strategy was one that I had no idea what to expect coming into this race, but I eventually decided on starting with the hard tires and going into lap 10 to pit for the mediums. As the race goes underway, getting a good launch from the Porsche behind as we head up into the first corner. Braking right after the 100 meter board, trying to play it a bit safe into the first corner, as I don't know what to expect with the hard tires. And I don't know the strategy of the Porsche behind, so he might be on the mediums or he might not be. The main goal for this first stint is to try to keep the Porsche behind, just in case he is on the mediums. I want to try to keep him behind as long as possible until I can pit for the mediums, which will be on lap 10. As we head up into the hairpin, getting a good exit, just noticing a bit of understeer, as you can see the Porsche is catching up a little bit behind. So quite early on, I was sort of anticipating that he would be on the mediums, as we catch a bit of oversteer on the exit of this long left-hander. Heading up into the second hairpin as we get ready to brake at the second arrow on the right-hand side. Nice and smooth into the corner as I hit the apex quite nicely, putting the power down as well, just trying to maintain the gap to the Porsche behind, not being too excessive on the throttle, as I'm just trying to play it safe. And one thing you're going to start to notice about the tires is that they've already started to degrade quite a bit, which is to be expected, as the tire wear in this race is set to 6 times the normal amount. As heading up into the final sector, where the Ferrari struggles with understeer quite a bit, as I mentioned earlier on, we're just going to start to begin to lose a bit of time to the Porsche behind, which is not ideal when heading onto the long main straight, as he's going to have the slipstream all the way down the straight into the first corner. Going a bit wide out of the final corner, which compromises my speed a bit, but he's not going to be close enough for the slipstream as we cross the line to start lap 2. Skipping forward to the final sector of the second lap, you just begin to see how much grip the Ferrari starts to lose with these degraded hard tires, as the Porsche gains a lot of time into the final corner, which will compromise us quite a bit heading into the first corner, as he's going to have the slipstream all the way down the main straight. Now we're just going to sweep over to the right-hand side to cover the inside line for the first corner. As you can see already just how much time he's gaining with the slipstream advantage, as he swoops over to the left-hand side, I'm also going to swoop over to the left-hand side just to cover him off through the first turn as we keep it nice, clean, and tidy between the both of us. Just really a basic textbook defense. As we skip forward a little bit to the latter stages of the fourth lap, going a bit wide through this turn, not losing too much time to the Porsche behind, but coming up into these final two turns, we're just going to lose ever more time with the Ferrari, again understeering through these final two corners. You can see on the radar just how much the Porsche catches up in the final corner alone. As we head on to the back straight, he is once again going to have the advantage of slipstream, so we're just going to defend the right side inside line to the first corner. As he swoops over to the left-hand side, we're just going to cover him off again, another textbook defense, hitting the apex and taking the corner quite nicely as we live to see another day. Skipping over a little bit to the beginning of lap 6 as we set a personal best time down the main straight. We began to pull away and set a reasonable sized gap. As coming into turn 1, I'm just going to take too much grass on the right side, giving me a big snap of oversteer on the exit, compromising my run into turn 2, which is going to force me to defend my position. Trying to brake as late as possible into this corner, maybe a bit too late as I go a bit wide of the apex, but successfully defend my position. Skipping forward a little bit later in the lap, heading into the final sector, you can see on the radar the Porsche behind is closer than ever into the last sector where the Ferrari loses most of its time, so I'm going to have to defend quite well here, heading onto the main straight, all while not trying to compromise my run at all as we head into the final two corners, going a bit wide into that one, trying to just experiment with the lines in this final corner as I take it pretty decently heading onto the final main straight. The Porsche, you can see, is roughly 1/10 behind, so he's going to have a major run on me down this straight, but he actually decides to give me a bump draft for some reason. I think he could have gone for the move into turn 1, but he decided not to, keeping it fairly clean through the first corner as well, as I was expecting him to probably go for a dive bomb into the first corner. Skipping on forward to the end of lap 7, going a bit wide in the final corner, again just struggling with the grip on the tires as the Ferrari tends to understeer. The Porsche is going to have another run on me down the main straight, as again I just covered the right hand side, forcing him to take the outside for turn 1 and successfully defending my position once again. He actually closes the gap quite a bit on the first corner as I go a bit wide and take a bit of grass, forcing me to defend my position into turn 2 once again. This time he's closer than ever and he's actually going to try to go for the move, momentarily actually passing me on the right hand side. He's going to keep it respectful though and give me the space for the double apex as I was able to keep the position. Skipping forward to the end of lap 10, coming into the final corner, you can see the tires are just worn and basically completely dead. So we're going to dive into the pits on this lap, braking a little bit late and almost losing my race right there, as we're going to switch over to the medium tires without refueling as it's not needed in this race. Now, because of that incident where I braked a little late, I was a bit nervous to come out of the pits because I didn't know if I was going to get a 3-second penalty for cutting the pit lane lines on the entry, but thankfully that was not the case as we exit the pit lane without a penalty and basically in the lead, as the leader was only 6 seconds in front of me and had not yet pitted. So far this race was looking pretty decent. As we head down into the second corner, this is where I'm going to start to notice the lack of grip on the medium tires as they are cold coming out of the pits. Going a bit deep into this corner, into the double hairpin, this is where my race is going to kind of get a little messed up as we catch a big slide, allowing the Porsche through, but we managed to save it, not losing too much time to the Porsche in front. All I could really hope for now is for the Porsche in front to make a mistake, as coming up into the final sector of the 11th lap, he goes wide, allowing me to slip back past and regain the position. Just showing how difficult it is to drive on cold tires straight out of the pits. Skipping further forward to the end of lap 13, through the final turn, the Porsche is going to get a much better entry and exit as he takes a much better line than me. As we head on to the main straight, he's going to be very close as we just dip 2 wheels into the grass on the right side. We're just going to cover the inside line to the first corner, and as he moves over to the left-hand side, we're just going to cover him off yet again. As into the first corner, I'm going to turn in a bit early and dip all 4 wheels onto the grass. I was sort of expecting a penalty for that, but it didn't end up happening as we skip over to the end of lap 14. Again, through the final turn, the Ferrari just losing a lot of time to the Porsche behind. As you can see on the radar, the Porsche has caught up quite a bit on the main straight, and he's roughly less than 10th behind me. So heading down into the first corner, I'm forced to defend my position on the inside, and as he moves over to the left-hand side, again, I just move over and cover him off. As this time we take the first turn much better, but not perfect as we missed the apex a little bit, as I successfully defend my position at another threat down the main straight. Skipping forward later in the lap, this is where the Porsche behind's race sort of unravels for the worse, as coming out of the hairpin, he's going to just turn left on a straight. But don't think for just a second that I can run away with this win just yet, because the Ferrari behind is still less than a second behind me. So just still trying to be cautious on these last 2 laps, as heading into the final sector, into this awkward double apex, I'm going to make just a little bit of a mistake and go a bit wide, allowing the Ferrari behind to catch up quite significantly, as through that corner alone, the gap is already down to less than half a second. As heading up into my worst corner of the entire lap, just making another mistake and going a bit wide, allowing the Ferrari behind to catch up again as we head on to the main straight. The gap is down to roughly 0.3 of a second as we cross the line to start the final lap. Now, I really want to walk away with this win, so we're going to play it extra cautious into the first corner, just hoping for no mistakes to be made, as the guy behind actually goes a bit deep and makes a little bit of a mistake himself. So at this point in the race, I was in a good position to come home with the win. Skipping forward to the final sector of the lap, the car behind managed to catch up quite quickly, as I'm just going to be playing it very, very cautious, taking a tighter line as he tries to push me on the outside, but it's not going to work as he's getting very desperate to try to get ahead for the win. Heading up into the final corner now, again, just trying to take as tight as a line as possible to prevent him from slipping past. As we get a good exit out of the final corner, his efforts are not going to be enough as we swoop over to the left-hand side to take the checkered flag to take home the win at the GT World Series Manufacturers Cup. The gap as well being quite small at only 0.2 of a second, but we managed to take victory at the Autopolis International Racing Course. And I won't be able to participate in round 4 at the Nürburgring. But anyways, that's all for today's video. I do hope you enjoyed, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like and follow button, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.